I'm not sure if this is the problem that everyone kind of occasionally suffers from. I'm going to put that in quotes, suffers from. But this is what I noticed in one of my games. As a quick preface, it's easier for me to record audio than it is to type all this in, since there would be a lot to explain. But with that being said, I have PackAttack and Pace in my game. And the reason I'm saying that is PackAttack and Pace, from what I understand, can be very script intensive, where SS2 is also very script intensive. Now, I don't know if what I'm about ready to explain is what happens, but if you have no way of tracing it, you won't know that it happens other than the fact your game will literally pause. It'll just freeze up for just a second or two, and then everything will keep going, or it may intermittently freeze. But the problem that I noticed, or the problem that I had, was pace. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't pace or pack attack. I apologize. It was not that. That caused the problem. But the actual problem I had was with MAIM. So, what MAIM does is whenever I take damage, it applies bleeding
Let's get to
effects.
modding.
It'll apply bleeding effects to me. It could be anywhere from a contusion, it applies damage to my character. And that will give me debuffs. So it makes it more difficult in combat. Like a broken limb, I might have sway with my gun. Well, I was in Forest Grove Marsh, I believe, is the name of it. It's where the ghouls are buried under the water. Like they're supposed to breathe, so how they sleep underwater, I don't know. But anyways, so PackAttack, for some reason, will get in a loop to where it floods the VM. Now, this doesn't normally happen. I actually track every time I save, every time I go to save my game, and I do spam save a lot. I look at the papyrus log. I actually have it set to enable logging, so it dumps, anything that papyrus does during a particular game save time. I start playing the game, I save, it grabs that data, that data out of the papyrus log, and I look for stack dumps. And when I find it, I have a warning sound, just like a little warning sound that'll literally say, hey, you've got some stack dumps. And at that point, I can stop, go in, take a look at the log detail, and see what's going on, like what caused it. And in my game, PackAttack seems to be, or in Pace, at sometimes if it's a companion, seems to really occasionally encounter a problem to where it will flood the exact same events just across the board. So when that happens, the VM gets flooded. And when that happens, there's a warning that'll pop up in Papyrus that says, I'm dumping these stacks to show you that the VM, the virtual machine that runs the scripts, the VM has too many stack frames on it. And I think Bethesda put that in there like as a warning to say, okay, we have too many scripts are calling too many things, or maybe there's a recursive call where something calls itself over and over again, or a series of scripts calls script 1, script 2, script 3, then script 3 for some reason calls script 1, and you repeat that cycle, which literally just loads everything up quickly. But the problem was when that happened, I got stuck in a permanent bleed mode. Because what MAIM does is put perks on my character. It puts perks on the NPC. It attaches perks to those NPCs. My character, the character I play, is an NPC, so it will attach a perk to that. I couldn't get rid of it. There was nothing I could do. There was nothing MAIM offered that would get rid of it. When I went into God, I'm on a PC, so I went into God mode, so I wouldn't completely bleed out and die, because I couldn't fast travel, I couldn't do anything because I'm taking damage. So once I could no longer take damage, I fast traveled. That gave me a certain amount of time. And then when I looked at my character, I'm no longer bleeding, but then all of a sudden, it kicks back in again. So What I think is happening is whenever the VM gets flooded, I think there is a problem with the code. I think I think it's a problem. And why I think it's a problem is because if let's say the virtual machine can only handle 10 script calls, but you've got 50 on there. Well, it does. Let's say that from 11 to 50, like from 1 to 10 is what the VM can handle at a time, and from 11 to 50, it has to dump them. Well, once that VM makes that cycle, it's going to process 11 through 10. Let's say it's event driven, so events are signaled for these scripts, and let's say it is event driven. So if it's not in a queue, if each script that receives an event is not queued, then it processes them on demand. So it stands to reason, if that's true, it would stand to reason that scripts 1 through 10 can receive can be put on the virtual machine, and then they depend on scripts 11 through 50, whatever result that is. But instead, the VM says, I can't process this, I'm dumping it out, or it leaves them on the stack and just says it's too high, which is what I think it does. But somehow the VM is getting confused because it simply cannot handle all of those scripts, in that volume. So there was no way to fix that game save because it corrupted the game save. Or it literally corrupted the data that the MAIM scripts use, because even MAIM couldn't fix it. What I had to do to fix that is I had to go back to a previous save before that happened, and then everything was okay. So I think PackAttack, for some reason, flooded the VM with, I mean, we're talking thousands of calls. There's no, and I have MAIM and I have PackAttack in my game, and I have a lot of different game sessions with those mods in there. It's only occasionally there's some condition that PackAttack is hitting where it floods the VM, but it's that flooding of the VM that I believe completely messes things up, because I think the VM somehow is skipping stack frames. It's skipping frames when this happens. When it gets overloaded, it skips frames. Now, it doesn't just dump them to say, hey, these are way too many, but I think somehow it's skipping them. And I believe it's because things are event-driven, because if it can't follow the natural flow, another event comes in, and if it happens on demand, then before the natural flow of everything got done, all the scripts, you got another event coming in on top of that, and that's going to cause it to what I call it, it's like an overstep or an overrun. It steps over top of something that needs to complete first. And that's just a guess on my part, but I just wanted to say that when weird stuff happens, if you don't have Papyrus set up, or you don't occasionally check to see if there's a VM stack dump, then that could be the cause of a lot of these weird problems. It just depends. I don't know if SS2 does it by itself for whatever reason. I do know that I've seen it with PackAttack. I think I've seen it with other scripts, but right now PackAttack seems to be the one that does it. I'm pretty sure there's a bug somewhere, and I'm sure it's a lot of scripting. I'm sure there's a lot of scripting involved, but it's probably just a bug in there somewhere. But I wanted to make a note of this to describe that when weird stuff happens and saving and loading doesn't fix it, then something's got corrupted, or maybe somehow the VM has gotten something happened. The scripting, something confused the scripting. So you would have to go back before you notice that and find which game save doesn't have that problem. Or you can go in and enable just Papyrus logging. You don't have to do tracing or anything like that. It's like one option, just enable logging, so at least it logs when things dump. Because I noticed when I actually there was like 3 variables that have to do with Papyrus logging. When I set all 3 on, that, especially with stack dumps, it gathered way too much information. Like it wasn't the most ideal situation, because I just need to see if a stack dump occurs, and I don't need the stack trace for everything that dumps. But just wanted to share that just in case. So if anybody has that, that is a possibility. So you might, that might be something, if a person has a good sized load order, it might be something that they want to kind of enable in the any and just double check and make sure that stack dumps don't occur. So hope that helps. And yeah, just have fun gaming.